Have you ever stood in front of the mirror, brushing your hair, and suddenly felt that it was telling a story you didn't agree with? Your heart still feels young, full of energy, but the reflection staring back at you seems to whisper a different age. I've been there too, standing in that quiet moment, wondering why my hair made me look older than I truly felt. The truth is, it isn't always about dramatic changes. More often, it's the little choices we don't even notice, subtle habits with color, length, or texture that slowly add years to our look. These are what I call the quiet mistakes, and every woman I've ever spoken to over 60 has made at least one of them, myself included. But here's the good news. They're not permanent. They're not your destiny. With a few gentle shifts, tones that brighten instead of weigh you down, layers that bring movement, styles that frame your face, you can unlock a version of yourself that feels alive, modern, and effortlessly confident. So stay with me, because today we'll uncover 5 of the most common hair mistakes that quietly age women and exactly how to turn them around. And if this resonates, don't forget to subscribe, hit like, and share this video with a friend who deserves to feel just as radiant. Mistake 1. And it's the single most common trap that quietly makes women over 60 look older than they really are. Holding on to hair that's far too dark. Picture this. You're standing in front of your bathroom mirror. The light above casts down on your hair, jet black, glossy, the color you've trusted for years. But instead of feeling like your armor, it suddenly feels heavy, almost like a shadow wrapped around your face. Your skin looks duller, your fine lines sharper, and you find yourself wondering, why do I look more tired than I actually feel? I know that thought. I've had it myself. For so long, many of us believed darker meant younger, that covering every silver strand with black or deep brown was the key to keeping time at bay. But here's the truth. As your skin changes with age, the contrast of heavy, dark hair often stops flattering you. Instead of hiding age, it magnifies it. Dark hair absorbs light. It doesn't reflect it back to your skin the way softer tones do. That means instead of radiance, you get shadows. Shadows that sit under your eyes, around your mouth, along your jawline. Suddenly, the features that deserve to glow look harsher than they really are. It's not that you've aged overnight, it's that your color isn't working with you anymore. I think of Claire, a woman I met in Boston. At 63, she had never let go of her jet black hair. It was her signature, and she couldn't imagine herself any other way. But one afternoon, she sat in my chair and whispered, "People keep asking me if I'm tired. I'm not. I just don't know why I look this way." Together, we softened her color into a chestnut brown, weaving in warm caramel highlights that kissed the strands around her face. When she looked up, her eyes actually sparkled. Her skin looked rested, almost as if she'd just returned from a long, beautiful vacation. Later, she told me, "For the first time in years, I see me again." That's the magic of light. The right tones don't just sit on your hair. They bounce, they lift, they illuminate. A softer chocolate, a gentle chestnut, even a graceful silver blend can bring back the brightness you thought was gone forever. And it doesn't mean losing who you are. It simply means evolving, choosing a color that harmonizes with the woman you are today. Some women worry that lighter shades will wash them out, but when chosen with care, the opposite happens. Warm undertones, soft highlights, or even cool silvers reflect light back onto your face, softening edges and drawing attention to the sparkle in your eyes. It's less about the number of years you've lived and more about how alive you look right now. And you don't have to take a drastic leap. Start small. Add gentle highlights around your face, just enough to create what I call the lifting effect. Watch how it changes the way you look in photos, how friends comment, "Something about you looks so fresh." That's not them imagining it, that's the subtle power of reflected light. Let me say this clearly. Choosing a softer shade is not about chasing youth. It's about stepping into light. It's about allowing your beauty to be seen without being overshadowed by the weight of heavy, dark color. You've lived too fully, loved too deeply, to hide behind hair that drags your energy down. And here's the most important part. You are not alone in this. So many women cling to their darkest dye as a shield. I've been there too, thinking I needed that armor, but letting it go doesn't mean letting go of yourself. It means choosing softness, freedom, and a reflection that matches how vibrant you feel inside. So the next time you stand in front of that mirror, ask yourself, does this color still tell my story? Or is it quietly aging me in ways I never intended? Because aging is not the enemy. Dulling your light is. Your hair isn't just hair, it's the frame around your spirit, the first thing the world sees when you walk into a room. And you deserve a frame that makes your story glow. And even if you find the courage to soften your color, there's another habit many women hold on to, a habit that hangs heavy on the shoulders and quietly drags the face downward. In the next part, we'll talk about why long, lifeless hair may be stealing your energy, and how letting go of it could be the lift you never knew you needed. Mistake 2, holding on to long hair that has lost its shape, its movement, its vitality. For many women, long hair has been part of their identity for decades. It feels feminine, it feels safe, it feels like a piece of who you are. I understand that. I've heard countless women say, my long hair makes me feel like myself. And for years, that may have been true. But as time passes, hair changes. After 60, it naturally becomes finer, more fragile, and often less dense than it once was. What used to flow now hangs. What used to shine now looks dull. And instead of flattering you, that length may actually be weighing you down, literally and visually. Think about it. Long, heavy strands pull the eye downward, elongating your face in ways that can make your jawline and neck look softer, less defined. Instead of lifting you, they drag your entire presence south. What once felt youthful and vibrant begins to look tired, even lifeless. And here's the hard truth. Clinging to long hair when it no longer supports you doesn't preserve your femininity. It hides it. I remember meeting Eleanor, a woman in her late 60s who had worn her hair past her shoulders her entire adult life. She told me, I can't imagine myself without it. Cutting it short feels like cutting away my femininity. But when she looked in the mirror, she also admitted she saw tiredness, strands that looked flat, limp, and thin at the ends. Her hair wasn't enhancing her, it was aging her. Together we made a small change. We trimmed her hair to just above her collarbone and added gentle, shaggy layers that framed her face. Nothing drastic, nothing extreme, but when Eleanor turned back toward the mirror, her eyes widened. I look lighter, she said softly. I feel lighter. Her hair now had movement. It bounced when she turned her head. And her friends couldn't stop telling her how refreshed she looked. That's the beauty of the right length. You don't have to sacrifice femininity. You don't have to go pixie short if you don't want to. But there is a sweet spot, usually around the shoulders or collarbone, where the hair feels manageable, youthful, and alive again. Add in some soft layers and suddenly your face looks lifted, your neck appears longer, and your whole style feels modern. Why does it work? Because shorter, shaped hair creates volume where you need it most. At the crown, around the cheeks, near the eyes. It directs attention upward instead of downward. It frames your smile, brightens your eyes, and restores balance to your proportions. In other words, it makes you look more like the woman you feel inside. And here's something else. Movement matters. Long, limp hair often has no shape, no texture, no life. But when you add layers or adjust the length, your hair regains its rhythm. It moves when you move. It catches the light. It tells the world you are vibrant, present, and still evolving. If the thought of letting go of length terrifies you, start with small steps. Trim a few inches. Add layers near your face. Experiment with styles that hit just at your shoulders. You'll notice how much easier it is to style, how much more volume you suddenly have. and how fresh you feel when you look in the mirror. I want you to hear this clearly. Cutting your hair doesn't erase your femininity. It can, in fact, reveal it. It can show your softness, your elegance, your confidence in ways that long, tired strands no longer can. And you don't have to do it for anyone else. You do it because you deserve to see a reflection that makes you feel alive again. So if you've been holding on to your long hair out of habit, ask yourself, does it still serve you, or has it quietly started to age you? Sometimes the bravest, most liberating thing you can do is let go of what no longer lifts you. Because when you release it, you make space for something better, something that mirrors the lightness, the vibrancy, and the joy that's been inside you all along. Mistake 3, wearing a bob that's cut in one heavy line with no layers to soften or move. The bob is timeless. It has been celebrated for over a century, from Hollywood icons to modern-day runways. And the truth is, it will never really go out of style. But like all classics, the secret lies in how it's worn. A one-length bob, cut bluntly across with no movement, can be one of the most unforgiving looks for women over 60. What should feel chic and sophisticated too often ends up looking boxy, rigid, and heavy. Here's why. As we age, our faces change shape. Cheeks may soften, jawlines may lose some of their sharpness, and skin naturally becomes less firm. A blunt bob doesn't adapt to these changes. Instead, it draws a hard line across your face, accentuating fullness in the cheeks or heaviness around the jaw. It's almost like putting a frame around your face that's too small and too sharp for the picture inside. I remember working with Marianne, a 62-year-old woman from Texas. For years, she had kept the same chin-length bob, thick and one length, because it felt neat and manageable. But every time she looked in the mirror, she felt her reflection was stiff, almost severe. "I feel softer than this," she said, "but my hair makes me look hard." And she was right. The blunt line offered no movement, no softness. We made a subtle shift. Instead of chopping straight across, I added delicate, feathered layers around her face, softened the ends with a texturizing technique, and angled the cut ever so slightly so the front grazed her jaw while the back lifted slightly higher. The result wasn't dramatic. It was transformative. Suddenly, Marianne's features looked lifted, her smile brighter. The harshness was gone, replaced by an airy elegance that matched her personality. That's the gift of layers. They don't have to be obvious or choppy. Gentle, well-placed layers breathe life into a bob, adding dimension and movement without taking away its timeless polish. They allow the hair to skim lightly across your features instead of clinging to them, creating a softness that flatters rather than suffocates. Why does this matter so much? Because hair, without movement, looks tired. It looks like it's clinging to your face, dragging it down. But when you introduce texture, your hair begins to dance again. Light reflects differently off each layer, creating depth and vibrancy. The same bob suddenly feels modern, light, and alive. And here's the beautiful thing. You don't have to abandon the bob, you just have to evolve it. Think of it like tailoring a classic blazer. The structure is still there, but the fit is updated for who you are today. A slightly angled bob, feathered ends, or soft layering at the crown can make all the difference. These little details are what keep the cut timeless yet fresh. I know some women fear layers because they think it means more maintenance. But the truth is, the right layering actually makes styling easier. A bob with subtle layers will fall into place more naturally, requiring less effort to look polished. And when you run your fingers through it, it feels light, not heavy. Imagine standing in front of the mirror and running your hand along your jawline. Instead of seeing a hard line cutting across your face, you see softness, hair that frames rather than fights. You see a reflection that feels like you, elegant, approachable, and refreshed. So if you've been wearing the same one-length bob for years, ask yourself, does it still flatter you the way it once did? Or has it become a habit that's holding you back? Sometimes the most powerful change doesn't come from choosing something entirely new. It comes from adjusting the familiar, refining it, and letting it evolve with you. Because your beauty hasn't faded, it's only waiting to be framed in the right way. And the bob, when given layers, angles, and movement, can be one of the most flattering frames of all. Mistake 4. Hiding behind blunt, heavy bangs that completely cover the forehead. At first glance, bangs can feel like a quick fix. Many women think, if I cover my forehead, I'll hide the lines. No one will see the wrinkles. It seems logical, right? But here's the paradox. Those thick, straight bangs you rely on to hide age often do the opposite. Instead of softening your look, they create a heavy curtain that blocks light from your face, dulls your eyes, and makes your expression feel closed off. Think about the role of light. When your forehead is covered by a dense wall of hair, the light that would naturally fall across your face never gets the chance. Your features sit in shadow. The sparkle in your eyes is muted, and rather than drawing attention to your smile or your energy, blunt bangs become the first and sometimes the only thing people notice. I once worked with a woman named Ruth, 65, who had worn heavy bangs since her 30s. They had become her safety net. "I feel naked without them," she admitted. But she also confessed that people often told her she looked serious, even stern, when she didn't feel that way at all. When she looked in the mirror, she saw a wall of hair pressing down on her face, almost like it was closing her off from the world. We decided to try something new. Instead of those blunt, heavy bangs, we shaped them into soft, side-swept layers that blended seamlessly with the rest of her cut. The change was immediate. Her eyes lit up, her smile looked warmer, and the first thing she said was, "I feel approachable again." Her friends didn't compliment the bangs, they complimented her. That's the power of lighter, airier fringe. Curtain bangs that part gently in the middle, wispy layers that graze the eyebrows, or side-swept strands that frame the cheekbones. They all let in light, they soften rather than harden. They open up your face instead of closing it off. And most importantly, they bring the focus back to your eyes, the place where your vibrancy, your humor, your spirit shines the brightest. Why do heavy bangs fail so many women over 60? Because they create a harsh horizontal line that emphasizes everything beneath it. Fine lines around the mouth, loss of definition in the jaw, even sagging in the cheeks. It all becomes more noticeable when the upper face is closed off. In trying to hide one thing, the style accidentally magnifies others. But when bangs are cut with softness and movement, they do the opposite. They balance the face, they guide attention upward, and they create an effortless sense of youth. It's not about pretending you don't have lines. It's about allowing the world to see all of you, not just the wall of hair you hide behind. And let me be clear, I'm not saying never wear bangs. Bangs can be beautiful. They can be playful, elegant, even transformative. The mistake isn't bangs themselves, it's the way they're worn. A blunt, heavy fringe that blocks your face is the problem. A softer, lighter version is the solution. If you're nervous to change, start small. Ask your stylist to thin your bangs a little or to sweep them slightly to the side. Notice how much more light falls across your eyes. Notice how your expression softens. You may even find yourself smiling more because you finally see your whole face again, not just the lower half. And if you're ready for a bolder shift, try curtain bangs. They're modern, flattering, and incredibly forgiving. They create a frame around your eyes while still letting your forehead breathe. It's a subtle transformation that can make you look, and more importantly, feel 10 years younger in an instant. Ruth told me something I'll never forget after her transformation. She said, "For the first time in decades, I feel like people are really looking at me, not just at my hair. That's what this is about. Your hair shouldn't be a shield. It should be a window, a frame, a way of letting your best features shine. So if you've been clinging to those heavy, blunt bangs, ask yourself, are they protecting you or are they hiding you? And imagine how freeing it could feel to step out from behind that curtain, to let the world see your light again. Because the truth is, your forehead lines are not the problem. The problem is hair that makes you disappear, and you, at this stage of life, deserve to be seen, fully, beautifully, unapologetically. Mistake 5. Forcing your hair into flat submission as if sleekness alone equals sophistication. I've seen it again and again, women over 60 who straighten their hair within an inch of its life, believing that neatness will make them look polished, controlled, even younger. But the reality is the opposite. When hair is over-straightened, pressed flat against the scalp, it loses the very qualities that give us vitality, movement, bounce, and texture. Instead of looking refined, it looks tired. Instead of looking modern, it looks lifeless. Think of volume as oxygen for your style. Without it, your hair, and by extension, your whole presence, feels starved. A crown that lies flat makes the face look longer, the eyes less bright, and the skin duller. It can even exaggerate sagging in the cheeks or jawline because there's nothing above to lift or balance the proportions. I once met Susan, a woman from California who had been straightening her hair every morning since her 40s. "It's the only way I know how to look put together," she told me. But when I saw her, her hair clung to her head like a heavy curtain. She looked neat, yes, but also older than her years. The straightness was so severe it erased all softness from her expression. We tried something simple. I showed her how to blow dry with a round brush, lifting the crown and letting the ends turn under gently. We added a light mousse to give her roots some spring. And then, the finishing touch, subtle layers at the crown that encouraged natural lift. When Susan looked in the mirror, she gasped. "I look awake," she whispered. And then she laughed. "No, better, I look alive." That's the power of volume. It's not about having big hair or spending hours teasing and spraying. It's about restoring the natural dimension that flatness erases. Even the smallest lift at the roots can change everything. It catches the light differently. It pulls the eye upward. It makes you look rested, engaged, radiant, and texture. Oh, texture is your secret ally. Over-straightened hair reflects light in one harsh sheet, which only emphasizes thinning. But add in a wave, a gentle curl or feathered layers, and suddenly your hair plays with light. It looks fuller, thicker, more dimensional. It looks like it has something to say. You don't need a complicated routine to get there. A little volumizing spray before blow drying, a round brush at the crown, or even embracing your natural wave instead of fighting it can work wonders. The point is not perfection, it's presence. Let your hair move. Let it have a rhythm. Let it reflect the vibrancy that you still carry inside. And if you're someone who has relied on straight hair for decades, I understand the fear of changing it. Straight hair feels safe. It feels professional. But ask yourself, does it still serve you? Or has it quietly started to flatten not just your hair, but the way you feel about yourself? When Susan let go of the iron, she discovered something she hadn't expected. Styling her hair became easier. She didn't have to fight against its natural texture anymore. She learned to work with it, enhancing rather than erasing. And in doing so, she found a style that wasn't just flattering. It was liberating. The truth is, hair after 60 often becomes finer. It doesn't hold volume the way it used to. That's why forcing it flat is so unforgiving. But when you add layers, embrace texture, or simply create a little lift at the crown, you give your hair back the one thing it craves: life. So if you've been stuck in the cycle of straightening, I invite you to try something different. Put down the iron for a week. Play with mousse or texturizing spray. Ask your stylist for long, invisible layers that build movement without looking choppy. Notice how much lighter you feel, how much more your reflection resembles the energy you still carry inside. Because you are not meant to disappear into flatness. You are meant to rise, to shine, to take up space, not only in the room, but in your own story. And the right volume, the right texture helps you do exactly that. When we look back at the 5 mistakes we've uncovered, one truth becomes clear. They're rarely dramatic. They're quiet, subtle, easy to overlook, a color that feels safe but weighs you down, a length you've worn for years that no longer flatters. A bob cut too blunt, bangs too heavy, hair too flat. Each one by itself seems small, almost harmless. But together, they can add years to your reflection, years that don't match the vibrant woman you still are inside. And that's why this matters. Because your hair isn't just hair. It's the frame of your story. It tells the world who you are before you say a word. And you deserve a reflection that honors the life you've lived, the energy you still carry, and the confidence you've earned. The good news? These mistakes are not permanent. They're not failures. They're simply habits, and habits can change. With just a few adjustments, softening your color, embracing movement, adding layers, lifting volume, you can step into a look that feels current, effortless, and most importantly, true to you. I want you to remember this. Aging isn't the enemy. Dulling yourself down is. You're not here to hide behind heavy lines of hair or muted styles. You're here to shine. And your hair, when given the chance, can be one of your greatest allies in doing exactly that. So tell me, have you spotted yourself in one of these mistakes? And more importantly, which solution are you most excited to try? Share it in the comments below. I'd love to hear your story, and if this video resonated with you, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share it with a friend who deserves to feel just as radiant. Because this journey isn't just about looking younger, it's about looking like you, vibrant, alive, and beautifully present in every season of life.